Dear Zoha, we are live. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Tahmina. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I was really enjoying the conversation of our assistant and our speaker today, and she's really like very energetic person. And thank you so much, Miss Anna. We would really love to hear from you. It's such a joy to have you back with us today for this mentorship session under the Women Ascension. And thank you to all our participants, whether you are joining us from Pakistan, Greece, Cameroon, Afghanistan, or anywhere else from the world. Thank you so much for showing up, not just for yourself, but for the communities you support and represent. I am your moderator, Zoha Hussain, and I am also leading Community Outreach Department at Women Ascension. I'm very honored to be holding space with you all today, especially for such a vital and timely conversation. Today's session is titled as Navigating the System, Know Your Rights, Find Support and Stay Safe. This topic speaks to the heart of what many people go through, especially those who have experienced displacement, migration, or any kind of instability that forces us to restart in a new system, often with a little and no help. And our speaker is very much experienced in this topic. So, this is not just about documents or legal aid, it's about knowing your worth, finding your voice, and building back to safety and self determination. These are human rights, not privileges. And our goal today is to make sure everyone here walks away with greater clarity, access, and courage. And to guide us on this topic, we are deeply honored to have our speaker, Anna Lalu-Pastushenko, joining us live from Greece. She's a passionate educator, cultural mentor, and refugee advocate. She's been working with displaced individuals, especially women and children, since 2022, helping them secure the documentation, access service, and pursue education. And most importantly, she's also working to help them regain their confidence in the unfamiliar environments. And she's also currently serving as a mentor and speaker at Women Ascension. And today she brings with her not only the professional knowledge, but deep empathy and the lived experience. And I was hearing her speaking about this topic, and I could feel how much she is deeply connected with this topic. So thank you so much, Anna, for giving us your time, and we are really excited to hear from you, and we would love to learn from you. The floor is yours now. You can start your topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this warm welcome, and I would like to welcome everyone who sees us live and will participate or will see us later on YouTube, because this topic which we have today is really important and very dear to me myself, because I am Ukrainian living in Greece, and practically I am an immigrant, let's say. And immigrants, displaced people, and refugees, we all like three different categories, but we all face more or less the same issues. When we move from one place to another one, we all have four main problems. We need to be okay with our legal documents. We need to find shelter, food, and to find income, a new job or some kind of income which will support our stay in a new place. So as an immigrant, I lived all these nice things by my own. And when the Russian invasion started in Ukraine, many members of my family had to leave country in different ways, and they traveled to different countries and faced very different situations and conditions while they were traveling. And when they arrived to countries, they received help different ways in different places. So this is something that we lived through and we feel it, under our skin. So I believe it's one of the most important things, and it's important for those who have friends, relatives, or need to travel themselves for any reason, or for the organizations who are supporting people who travel as refugees or planning to move to different places, because this information is universal. And as organizations, you can have more information, so you can get more prepared and better prepared in order to share right information and to get people understand what they can do what rights they have, where they can have and receive help, and also how they need to behave when they travel or when they arrive to the final destination. As you all understand that not all people who are traveling are the same. And mainly today I will talk about problems which refugees will face. So refugees are people who are living from one country to another one. But as I said, displaced people within the same country, now due to different kind of conflicts which we have in different areas of the world, they will have, especially during the travel, very similar situations. So it will be applicable for all of them. So as I was introduced, I am a person who works with refugees who came from Ukraine and Greece, but the information which I give is applicable for any country, no borders, it's exactly the same thing. So what we see when we face people who are traveling from one place to another. Majority of people are anxious, overwhelmed, traveling unorganized, and never thinking beforehand to prepare properly. So what we need to discuss today is main topics, which is safety and security while traveling, where to seek help, legal documents and rights which we have when we arrive to other places, and how to navigate local systems in the countries where you or anyone who travels arrive. So let's see what's going on when people are trying to move from one place to another. Depending on the situation, people can live organized or unorganized. So either way, they need to understand where they are planning to get. So what they need to have in mind is the final destination. If they are going abroad and they have clear understanding to which country they want to get, they need to try to understand the culture of this country where they get, the laws, and what are the language these people speak in this country. Because majority of people, let's say worldwide, speak English. So if the person speaks English, the language barrier is more or less fixed. The laws and the culture. People need to understand that every country operates in a different way. And the culture is a big part of this operation thing, because there will be some holidays, some religious holidays or observations which local people will follow. So when you arrive to another place, you need to understand, if it's a holiday, the shops will be closed or some hours will not be working. And in this way, you can understand how to operate in this place, where to go, when to call, where to buy in advance some food or stuff for kids, for example. So you will feel safer and calmer in a place where you will arrive if you know in advance, more or less, what they do at the time when you will arrive there. The laws of the countries, if you move to Europe, more or less are similar. And I would say even internationally, more or less, they are similar. But if there are some specifics and you need to have it in mind, you need to have it in mind. Another thing is you need to have trusted contacts. If somebody travels to another country, uh, it always depends, where you will finally arrive. And I speak about this topic from bottom of my heart, because part of my family who was living in Ukraine and with invasion needed to leave went to Denmark. The other person who lived through church channels, she lived to Czechia. My mom came to Greece to me. And everyone, when they were traveling, had different needs and different people they needed to contact and to go through. So when people are traveling to another place, they need to have in written, because sometimes, the names are not really simple and you can pronounce them in a wrong way. So it's better to have all information in written always, and you need to have in written the names of the people you need to meet, the phone numbers of these people, the address of the place where you need to go. And if you have no one to go and no one is waiting for you, then you need to understand where you're going to stay. You're going to a refugee camp, you're going to embassy, you're going to some place where they gather refugees. So this information is important and better to have it in written. So in any situation when you arrive somewhere, you don't know where to go, you can show it to locals. They will read and they will help you and assist how to get there, how to find this person, maybe call the number which you have and understand what you need to do. So it's important to have important information in written. Another thing is documents and money. Always have cash because cards are good, but they can be stolen. They can be a problem with electricity, no ATMs working. The banks in other countries do not cooperate with your bank, so you cannot get money from credit card. Always have cash with you. Hide the money. Also hide your documents. Documents, it's very important thing, which not only identifies who are you, and it's important to have them with you. It's something that is easy stolen, easy copied, and without documents, you have great troubles. So what every traveler need to do is to have the copies of the documents besides of the originals. So originals are hidden. You have the copies either in digital format on your phone, on your computer, or a paper copy. So wherever you don't need to present the original document, present the copies. The documents need to be well hidden and protected. So if you have them with you, put them in a bag which will protect them from humidity, from any dirt danger, of travel. So money and documents hidden, keep the copies with you. If during the travel, and it's always happening, there are also people, not everyone is good to travelers. So there are also a category of people who are trying to profit from the situation, who are stealing your goods, who are having bad ideas in mind, like, stalling children, stalling people, offering different help. And when people are traveling, they are not, as refugees, they are not thinking clearly. So they are looking for any kind of help from anyone who offers the help. So here we need to understand a little bit the psychology of person who is traveling and in this situation. And we need to tell to people that they need to be very careful. If they see somebody who is not talking to them good, don't react, because everybody is overwhelmed and you can be hurt without reason. If you see situations of abuse, report it immediately. Go to police, go to people, who look like trusted authority, and discuss it and talk about this. Any suspicious behavior, go and report it, or try to go away from these people who look suspicious and do suspicious stuff. Be aware of dangers. There are a lot of dangers when we are traveling. Besides of stealing documents and money, which is the simplest thing, you need to remember that if you travel with children, I put it last, but it should be first, you need to be always aware where your children are. You need to have them, next to you, keep them from the hand and never let them. Children need to have and memorize main information like what are their names, who are their parents, maybe a contact telephone of mom or dad or somebody who can help in case they are lost, how to find their parents. In Ukraine, there were cases when children were traveling by themselves because it was impossible to go with a child. And parents were writing right on their skin, on the back, with the how we call it, with pens, the names, the telephones, and the addresses. So the child, when it was traveling, if you take out the clothes, you would see this information on them. It sounds, in real, unrealistic, but this is the case. And there were people who were sending their children with train from one city to another one, cross the borders, and then the relatives were collecting them on the other side of the border in next country. So kids is really important. They are easy getting lost. They can be stolen. So take care of them. But in case, the child is not attended, it need to know main information about itself. You can also wear, this marking stuff on the hands with their names and the address and telephones. Whatever you can do to prevent losing the child or, giving any information to the child, give it and keep it first at, most important part of your mind. The other thing is meal safety. When people are traveling, especially in Russia, they can eat, whatever they find. And in best case scenario, you are okay. Next case scenario, your stomach could be sick and then you have health problem, which is not good when you are traveling. And the worst case scenario, if it's not trusted organization or source, you can be poisoned or you can, get in trouble because you can eat something it makes you sleep or you don't feel well, and then, they take you away for different reasons. Another thing, as during the wars and conflicts, majority of people who are traveling, it's women and children. Of course, there is a big problem with frauds and trafficking. And people are coming, suspicious men comes and they say, let's do this, give me your documents, let's do that. And then they just steal these people and they get into trouble. And when they don't have documents with them afterwards, they cannot get out of there. So we always need to be very careful about to whom we talk, what these people offer, what kind of help they offer, if there any proof, are they with some organization which is really, trustful, and in case you are not sure 100%, you just don't go with these people anywhere, you don't accept any help, and you just refuse. Another thing is organ trafficking. People sometimes don't speak very well foreign languages. So when they are traveling and some people offering them some kind of help, and especially to people who may be not feeling really well, and they are saying like, yeah, we will support you and we will help you and let's go here. It's a medical station nearby and let's go and make some tests. And in this way, they capture the people, and they, unfortunately, people face the problems like unauthorized surgeries, they take the organs, they even kill people, and this happens, unfortunately, but this is the case. So, what we keep in mind when traveling as refugees, we do not accept any suspicious help. We do not speak to people who don't look like they are representing somebody. And we always take care of our kids and be sure what we eat. Next important thing is where to find help. There are different organizations who support refugees because in different countries and for different categories of refugees, the help will be different. So there are first and important thing which you need to have in mind. If your country has a representative like embassy or consulate, it's the first place to go. So before somebody goes to different countries, they need to find the telephones and the addresses of consulates and embassies. Usually consulates and embassies have a hotline. A hotline will work 24 hours and they will accept all the calls for any kind of emergency. So either you need to ask something or you are in trouble, these people will be the first one who will support you and help you, either with a question or they will come and collect you or will help to take you from a dangerous situation. So these are the number one place to go. Second one, in many countries, there is state web page which deals with immigration. So if you Google it, almost every country has it. So this state page usually will be in English, maybe in French, and if, for example, now with Ukrainians in Europe, they also have translated it in all countries in Ukrainian. So such sites provide main information for refugees and immigrants, which covers all the important things in the country. Where they need to go in case they need to do something with their documents, what are the rights, what are the legislation situation for each category.
I don't like biryani.
We have somebody who is not muted. So these people, this site also has a phone number. So you can email them, you can read the information, and you can also call them so they can assist with questions and documents and anything you need. The other thing is for faith-based shelters. It could be mosques, it could be churches, it could be organizations, in each country which support the same believers, let's say. So this channel is also working very well. And they're usually very well organized. My cousin traveled like this, and there were on every place where she arrived, there were people from this church who would support her, who will help her to move around, to give her food, to explain what to do with documents. So this channel worked really well. So if there is a possibility to have support of a faith-based shelters, it helps really much to people who use it. And the next one, it's international NGOs. It depends, which exist in which country. So Red Cross is almost everywhere, so you can find it. Doctors Without Borders, they're almost everywhere. So for the medical help, these guys can help. There are also different nonprofits who help with food, with organizing, with documents, with different categories. So this is something that, depending on which country the people arrive, they need to look what this country has. And in this way, they can find if there is any international NGOs or no, who could help them. The other thing is online. Definitely very popular because everyone now lives online. So here you can find Facebook, Telegram, Instagram, depends, what exists in your countries and what is, country where you go. There is always, and also YouTube, there is always people who are talking about the country, about the problems, and if there are any situation with refugees, who would cover the refugee situation. So if you look on these platforms with keywords, you will definitely find such communities of people who would definitely provide a lot of important information. Community sources, it's something that you can find or not find depending on country and community, because in different countries it's organized in very different ways. So if receiving the refugees is organized by state, they usually have refugee camp. It could be shelters like homes with kitchens and well organized, or the camps which are really like open field with some, camping stuff, really bad conditions. So where these refugees go, it depends what kind of refugees are coming. As you can understand, if there is an for example, with Ukrainians, it was a big amount of people who came, and the countries got organized and decided what they're gonna do with these people. So there was a legislation, there were permits, there were a lot of things which were ready for these people in a very short time. There are also refugees who are coming from different other countries, like from Pakistan, from Palestine, from Syria, not many from African countries, but also coming. They're coming through Turkey, usually by sea, and if they are not drawn, which is also another big problem, they get to the land or to islands. The immigration system collects these people, and then they are just placed in these camps in the field. So they don't have a lot of rights, but they are organized in one place, collected in one place, but they cannot live. They don't have a lot of rights, to demand or to process further travel. So it depends always from where you come, with what purpose, and where you go. Also, the refugees could be of different reasons. They could be political, they could be looking for asylum, they could be just war refugees who are coming, and all these categories have different level of rights and protection. So in this case, you definitely need a lawyer who can support, this kind of situations and see what the legal documents will be needed. Local radio, TV stations, and community support. This would usually apply when you move within your country. So if the country is big and in one place there is a conflict and the other one is not involved in this conflict, usually people leave from one area and just move to another one. So in this case, television and radio and online channels, they are talking about what to do, how to protect, how to move, where to go, what you can do. So this applies usually for people who are moving within one country. So my tip is before traveling, get to know about the country where you go. Follow any information which is important to know about this country and the situation. Know the place where you go and be really very careful while you are traveling. Now, what we say about the documents. When somebody arrives to a different country, first and important thing is to have an ID, like passport usually, or if there is no passport, whatever ID you have for you and for your children. If there is no ID for children, then either they need to be written in passport, or you will need any kind of document which can confirm that this child is your child because as I said, during traveling, when refugees come, you never know who is who and who is coming with whom and if they are relatives or not, and you need to prove it somehow. When you leave organized from your country, you have time to collect all the documents and just have with them, have with you all the important things. If you leave unexpectedly because something happened and you just needed to leave urgently, get with you whatever you can. If you have a certificate of birth for the child, get the certificate. If you have any documents from school or wherever where it's obvious that this child's name is this and this person are the parents and you can prove that this is your child because you are the parent, it still will be good. So try to get most important documents with you so you can be safe and show that the child is my child, and it's very important. As I said, that refugees could be of different categories. Could be refugee of war, could be asylum seeker, could be political refugees, could be people on documents because they are came, with the sea, with a little problem, through the way, and they lost their documents, and there are no documents at all. So they will follow a different procedure. So as soon as somebody arrives to some place, either it's transit place or it's a final place where they come, they need to get to authorities and to get legal status of whatever status from this list it is. Because when you are undocumented or even with documents, but you do not apply for legal status, you are in trouble. You don't have any rights. Nobody will protect you. They can capture you and put you in prison because you are no one. So it's very, very important from the first moment you cross the border to have the stamp that you cross the border and then to apply to legal status depending on what you are as a category and what you would like to receive. So never delay. If you are an organization who is talking, with people who are refugees, always tell them that you need to be legal in any country where you go. It's step number one. When you arrive, you need to be legal. Where to get help because you come to another country, you don't understand anything, you don't know legislation, it's chaotic. Sometimes the state institutions are confusing and there is no clear procedure what needs to be done. So definitely a lawyer is the best help. There are lawyers who are working with refugees, which work with a very low cost or sometimes even with no cost. So these are the people who will help definitely as the first step. Then, depending again on the country, if there are international organizations like United Nations departments who deal with refugees, they are the one to go. The next one is non-profits who deal with refugees. In Greece, they were helping enormously. Really, they were helping a lot. They were taking these people, they were supplying all the documents they needed, all this documentary which you need to go to different state departments, and they were doing everything for these people. They were taking people by hand and taking with them for rendezvous, for the receiving the permission to stay, for doctors, for going, signing up for school. So these non-profits usually are very helpful. If the category of refugees do not have support of non-profits in the country where they arrive, then they need to go to embassy. Embassies will help in these situations because they can have either poster with what you need to do, or they can suggest the lawyer who can help because embassies always know the lawyers who work with their country. So they're really a good place to go. Online also helps a lot because people who face the same problems, they organize in groups and write what they face, was the problem, how they solved it, where you need to go, what documents you need to do. So you get to know people who are in the same city from your country, and you are as a community making this thing together. People support each other when they are in the same problem. And I need to remind that we need never estimate, the power of yourself. All of us, we are very capable people, and it's a mistake to wait that somebody will come and do work for you, or will take care of you, or will care more than you yourself about you. No one will do it. It's a bit truth, because everyone is dealing with his own problems and his family. So when somebody in another country, he needs to speak up for himself, to look for things, to be active, and to get everything in line as soon as possible, to understand how this country works as soon as possible, to see what maximum help you can have as soon as possible. So in this way, you count on yourself, you are sure about the situation and about what you do. If you are getting confused, you are not sure, note everything. Just get a pen and write down. Whatever people say, just write it down so you don't forget it. If there are flyers, get the flyers, collect the information, and in the evening, when you are calmer, just sit and read what you collected, check with other people what they say you need to do, and then you will understand. Always count on yourself. It's really important. Second thing, documents to prioritize. Identity documents, as I said, original and copies always. Medical records. If you have any problem with health, take them with you. If you don't, just write, it's good. And if you have children with problems, documents for children. If you have small children and they need to get these vaccinations, you have a book with, little book with vaccination, take it with you. If you don't, just remember what vaccinations they had in past, so you speak to medical specialists when you arrive to a new place. Because if you want to go to school or to kindergarten, even if you have the right to go there, they will ask about vaccination. So you need to get these documents with you if you leave the country, and the other country will need it. Also, sometimes you can have documents which provide, the obvious, it's obvious that you had a danger in your country. Usually it's for political asylum, because there is a problem with staying in the country. So these kind of documents, usually it's not for refugees of war. So what to keep from here? Apply to legal status as soon as possible. Have important documents with you. Now, what we do with the system? System is almost a nightmare in any country because all countries are different and they have different ways they operate, different laws for different categories of people. So, what's going here? Depending on which country the refugee comes from, they have different rights. So, when someone arrives to a country, they need to understand, depending on their category, what rights they have. For example, for Ukrainians, Europe said you have a permission to stay, you have a permission to receive a medical help from state institutions, not from private doctors, and you have the right to work. So practically, they were handed, all the main rights. The problem was in Greece, they speak in Greek and it's very complicated language. So even if you have the right to work, you had to gather so many documents that it's a nightmare. And then you still cannot work because majority of people who came were women with children and you didn't have where to leave your child. And second, you don't know the language. So what work will you find without a language? It's a difficult thing. But For some categories, they don't have even this thing. So you need to understand, depending on refugee status, legal status, what are the permissions you have. You can stay in the country and wait for documents. You can stay in the country and you have free medical care, so you can go to the doctors. Do you have a permission to work? You don't have. What you need to get this permission to work, because you need an income, so somehow you need to work, otherwise how you will stay, so it's important to understand what you have, what you don't have. Usually for children, they have a permission to go to school and to kindergarten, because education is something like, main right. So they accept children from different countries even without language knowledge. And sometimes they support children, to know a little bit better the language so they can keep up with school. But it's not always easy, and it depends on the country. But health, work permit, and schooling, it's one of the things that any refugee need to ask, first of all, if they can have this and what documents they need to receive these permissions immediately. If people come to country where there is a different language from what they speak, there is always interpreter which can help you. You can ask embassy to find the interpreter who will help. You can ask volunteers from non-profits. There is almost everywhere people who will translate. And if there is, critical situation like was with Ukrainians, the state had found the translators and interpreters who were in some places where they gave documents or had a lot of people who were coming every day, and these people were working there for free. So you come, they translate, you get what you need, and you leave. So everyone has the rights, which are like, common rights for every place, for every country, and it's right for shelter and food. So for any kind of refugees, any country would provide place to stay and some food, maybe not fancy, but definitely some food. Legal aid, which is either non-profits or embassies who will help you. And in case of danger, like wars and political asylum, people have the right of non-return. Like, you arrive to the country, they don't send you immediately back. They keep you there and see what they will do with you next. So we need to keep this in mind, that any kind of refugee coming to another country will definitely receive kind of shelter, a little bit of food for sure, some legal aid. At least they will see your documents and say what you need to do first, and they will not send you back. This happens sometimes with illegal immigrants in Italy. They can return, the boats and say sail from where you come. But in majority of countries, they collect these people and they decide what they do. So reminders from today's delivery. Stay connected, with people where you are going to meet in other country. Protect yourself. Be sure when you are traveling, don't talk to strangers. Eat only food which is safe, and don't go, with strangers. When you arrive somewhere, ask questions, note down whatever you need to do. If there is abuse, report abuse immediately. If you see that people don't, behave properly, demand dignity, like speak up for yourself. Nobody will protect you. It's you, and you need to speak up for yourself. And always, stay informed. Just read, look at state websites, be informed about proper and important information. So if you are not a person, but organization who works with refugees, especially in the countries where people are living and going abroad, what you need to do is to create guides on languages of people who are living, so they can understand what they need to be aware of or how they need to get organized for their travel. Definitely tells them about where they can find interpreters or translators in other places. Speak to interpreters or translators in your country in case you receive people from other areas. I know that in some big countries different types of languages people speak within the same country, so they may not understand each other. So find people who can help them to understand what's going on. Create social media account, as organization, and provide information that will help people who are traveling or going to live, so they can understand what to be aware of and how to get prepared. And always encourage people who are living wherever they arrive as a final destination to become legal there. It's really very important. And of course, talk to them. It's not part of this delivery, but definitely everyone who is traveling, they're in a really absolutely bad psychological situation. Anxious, afraid, in pain. It's awful, really. So provide them kind of information that can help them to get calmer, to get themselves together. So if there are any doctors or organizations who can help them with psychological help where they will arrive, suggest them where to find these people so they can get better, psychological, it helps a lot. So that's it. People who are traveling abroad are really a lot, and you are not alone. Many people went through this situation, and the road may be hard, but there is always help. There is a protection, and there is hope, first of all, to receive this help, and secondly, maybe to return some time to your native country. We have the rights. We need to speak up about, these rights and stand for ourselves. We need to guard our journey, to be careful and protective if we are not traveling alone. And we need to connect with those who care. I mean, the organizations who will receive us, people who are expecting us on, in other country, or other people who left from our country and they are there and you are connected, so they will help you. So thank you very much. I hope it was helpful for people who were here today with us. If you have questions, Zoha, I think, would collect them and
Yeah.
read so we can discuss and answer the questions. For those who would like to connect with me, you are really welcome to connect and come to my community, ask questions. I will be happy, to answer not only at these meetings, which we have once a month for different topics, but generally, because refugees is a huge kind of population now, and we need to help them. A little bit of help from everyone will save a lot of people from pain and someone's lives. So that's it. Thank you very much for attention, and I'm ready for the
Thank you
question.
so much. Thank you so much, Anna, for the incredibly informative and heartfelt session. And I think that your experience yourself as an immigrant really adds up to this topic, and that whatever you have shared is something you have actually experienced. And now, when you are helping others, that is something that you are facing as well. So, thank you so much. And I'm sure that many of us are feeling more equipped and more seen after what you just shared. So, now there are a few questions that were shared by our participants in the chat box. I'm going to read them for you.
Mhm.
The first question was that is it safe to share our location and personal details in online refugee groups, or should certain precautions be followed?
No, it's okay. If you are traveling and you are in one place and you are asking people about, where I need to go here or where I can stay here or how I can be, how I can receive help in the place where I am, it's okay. You just, you can say that, hello, I am, I don't know, Zurab, and I'm in this city. Who knows where I can go, and receive some food, for example, or some medical help. And people will answer it's nothing, so it's okay.
It's okay. Thank you so much. And someone else was asking that why is it there is still too much human trafficking, especially children's? I mean, there are very much organizations working, but still there is the problem trafficking, which many countries are facing. So why is it?
Well, why is it? Because not all humans are kind, I would say.
Yeah,
Because I believe this is a problem which is existing in every country worldwide. And there is a part of population who is profiting a lot from this. So it's always money which is involved. And there is a small amount of people who are enjoying it. So until we have these two problems, I don't believe that this big issue will be solved.
Yeah, true. So there's another question that how can refugees and displaced persons build trust with state institutions officials, particularly in the situation where there may be a history of trauma or mistrust. So how can they trust the state institutions and the officials?
No, I didn't understand the question. Can you please read it
Okay,
again?
sure. So the
Or
person is
rephrase it?
asking
Yeah.
that how can refugees and displaced persons build their trust with the state institutions because they already have this fear of trauma and mistrust, like they've been suffering a lot. So how
Mhm.
can these displaced persons build their trust with the state institution? Like in the new country, they've been there, but now there's a trust problem. So how can they build their trust?
Well, practically, they have no other choice, I would say.
Okay.
When you arrive to a different country, it's not up to you if you like the state institution or not. It's the only place which you need to interact with. So practically, you are obliged to interact with them.
To
Either
trust.
you trust them or not, it doesn't matter at all. Because you need to go to police, you need to go to the state organizations which will deal with your documents. So you have nothing else to do but to go and to follow what they ask. Usually you can understand if they are trustworthy or not, trustworthy. In this case it's not really much applicable, but let's say the process of providing the documents and putting the documents in place usually is free of charge, or if you need to pay something, it's really small amounts. So if somebody faces situation when they are asking for a lot of money in advance, it's definitely fraud. Or it's a person who is like middleman who is trying to make some money using your case. If you interact through lawyer, definitely if it's a lawyer from the state or lawyer who is working with non-profits, they will ask for a really small amount, like payment for their services. Sometimes if you go to a lawyer who is not involved with these non-profits, they can ask for higher payment, but still it's within, logical limits. If somebody is asking for thousands of whatever, money, euros, dollars, or whatever, it means that it's not trustworthy person you are talking to, because state, they are not asking for money. For example, like, European example, myself. I'm living here in Greece for 27 years, and I never received the citizenship of Greece intentionally. I didn't want to. I wanted to remain Ukrainian. And because in Ukraine we don't allow to have two citizenships, I chose to be Ukrainian. So I receive permission for living in Greece every 10 years. So it was when I came here at the beginning, we were paying quite a lot of money to state. So they were giving like kind of document with different stamps and we were paying there. With time it became at some point free of charge for many years, and now they're asking like 16 euros for some documents processing. So you understand that, okay, it's some kind of money you need to pay, but that's it. They're not asking like 5,000. So if you get to the situation when you need to interact with state organizations, you have to. It's not up to you if you like or trust. You just go, ask what they need, and you do it. But if you see that they're asking for money and high amounts, it's a problem. Then it's not trustworthy, and then you need either to report it or to see with other people what happened. Such cases could happen, for people who are trying to get from Far East to Europe and then to go through one country to another one, and it's not allowed. So there are cases of bribing to get the documents, so they're asking for a lot of money. But if you are going through simple process of legal processing, uh, you trust the state. That's it.
Thank you so
Very
much. You have
nice.
perfectly answered the question. There's another question that Bilal Ahmed is asking, that which international body basically implement these rules and ensure that they are implemented. And what we are seeing in case of America, that immigrants are sent back. So why these international bodies are not playing a role in that case?
Well, it's a complex question. Let's divide it in several parts.
Yeah.
So each country has its own legislation, and they have the right to decide what they would like to do and accept. And now in America, as you see with Mr. Donald Trump, they have different big changes, and they not accept immigrants. They send back many immigrants from a list of the countries because they decided so. So it's always up to the country, and it's always up to the leading party of that country, I would say, because maybe in 3 years, Mr. Donald Trump will not be president, and they will turn it back, to the previous situation, and people will be again welcomed to United States. So this is something we cannot influence. It's always up to the country what they want to do. If they allow immigrants, if they provide support to these immigrants. For example, again with Ukrainians. When Ukrainians left Ukraine and went to different countries, each country within European Union, which is supposed to be, one general body, provided very different levels of support for these people. Some countries like Germany, they were providing housing, they were paying a lot of money on a monthly basis to people who arrived. In Greece, they provided the permission to stay to work, and that's it. They didn't give even €1. They didn't provide any housing, they didn't provide anything. So if you had where to stay, like my mom came to my home, so she had where to stay. We got her documents, she received some medical care through these 3 years which she lives here when she needed it, and that's it. But some other people who came from Ukraine at the beginning, they stayed for a couple of months, they paid from their own money whatever they needed, and then they left because it was impossible to stay. Country is expensive and no income, you cannot stay here. So the only people who remained, it's those who were working distant, how we call it, through distance, yeah, online, and they receive money so they can stay here and pay for their stay, for rent, for food, for anything they have as expenses. So, for example, Switzerland didn't accept anyone. It's up to them. So it's always up to the country if they would like to receive immigrants, from which country they would like them to receive. They can say, we get this, but we don't get this. It's always up to them. And the second part of the question, why international organizations do not influence here or what they do not support. Let's keep in mind that they are not independent bodies. They are always sponsored by someone. And when you are not independent body which produces money with your activity, you cannot decide what you do or you don't do 100%. You're always influenced by somebody else. And if this somebody else is not, 100% caring about the idea and vision of this organization, and they say, yeah, we fund this program, but we don't fund this, organization cannot influence, like United Nations. Yeah, they gather, they make some resolutions, and so what? Practically, they do not do a lot if there is no funds, from somebody else who could support their work. They're really good organization with great vision and ideas, but practically they cannot influence anyone. So if we talk about going to different countries, it's always up to country what they receive, how they behave, if they support financially or any other way. So if somebody decides in their mind that I would like to go to this country, first check if you are accepted there, what you will receive there, and if it's worth of going there. So maybe you will rethink and not leave your country, or you will rethink and go to another place which would accept people from your country and support them, so there is a better future for you. I would not count on these organizations like United Nations, Red Cross, and all this stuff, like a permanent basis support. They can help at the beginning, or in some cases, but as they usually follow the programs, which are long term or short term, and then the program finishes and they do not provide help anymore, then it's always based on your legal status, what further you will receive in this country. you have access to public medical help, you will go to the hospital and you will be helped. You don't, then you will need to go to a private doctor, means you need money. So people always need to consider where they are going and what are the benefits they can have in their country, and what are the legal status for your original country in the place where you need, you want to go. And sometimes maybe it's not worth of going, or sometimes it's even dangerous for going. So like Ukrainians don't go refugees to Russia so, because it's not place where we need to go. So in this case, always consider, what you do before you do. And this is the only way you can, be sure that you will not get in trouble when you are at final destination.
Thank you. There's another question that if you don't even have the money to flee from the conflict zone, what can you and your family do to stay safe in that situation?
When you don't have money to leave the country,
Exactly, yes.
uh, usually the best case scenario in this case, move within your country to a safer place. Because being in your own country, it's always uh, talking the same language, understanding the legislation, understanding the situation. So if there are no money and also work, when you are in your country, there are much bigger chances that you will find work in your country than when you go abroad. People usually think that when they go abroad, they will find a better life, and nobody expects you there, and nobody wants you there. So whenever people arrive, either as immigrants or refugees, they're like leftovers. Nobody wants them. Nobody talks about it, but this is true. So if you are lucky to find job, it will be, badly paid and, low category, I would say. It's like cleaners and all this stuff. And maybe in your country, this family will find a better place and better work so they can live there and don't go abroad. Because abroad is not always better. In majority of cases, it's worst. Maybe safer, but worst for sure. At the beginning, definitely.
All right. Are there any countries which easily accept these refugees and the people who are coming from the conflict zone? Such as America and other countries, they are very strict and they have very strict rules and they do not accept. But are there any countries which easily accept them?
Uh, I would say Europe depends on the periods, because at some point, generally Europe is a big area with old population, and they need people, younger one, who would work. So from time to time, some countries were accepting a lot of people from other countries. Like Germany had received a lot of people from Turkey. Some other countries were receiving a lot of people independently, like from African countries, from Middle East, and they were receiving and receiving. And after 10 years, more or less, they realized that people who were coming to their countries from outside of Europe, uh, were people who arrived, lived on a support, money from the country, uh, helped a little bit on a low wages level of jobs, but were not, majority of these people were not highly educated or could work on high demand positions. So they realized that, okay, we got young people, but we cannot cover our needs. And they said, okay, we stop. And in this case, there was a big problem because Greece is one of the countries which were receiving a lot of refugees, especially from Syria, Palestine. People were coming at some periods, really big amounts of people. And Greece is a little country, and because we have a lot of sea around, they were coming to islands and to other places. And there were so many refugees, we couldn't, hold them anymore in the country. And it was a big conflict in Europe because Greeks said, we cannot keep these people here. We cannot provide shelter and food all the time from our own pocket for all these people. So you, Europe, other countries, European Union, you need to get part of these people, like decide between you, and some countries take several thousand of people and allocate them in your country. So now, especially with Ukrainians, another 6 million people, Europe definitely don't want any other refugees. And what they discuss is until 27, they provide to people permission to stay. And now many countries are already cutting the support and already to start talking that after 27, we would like majority of Ukrainians return back to Ukraine. Even if they provide, they work, they pay taxes, and they're young people who would, create future of Europe, they still want these people to return. At least a lot of those who are supported now financially. So it's a big problem. And in case of refugees, the best thing is to stay within your country. And if you are in a conflict area, just move to the safer place. Because if the other countries don't expect, to receive more people, they will not behave, well, and will not provide a lot to support people who are coming. And don't forget that in every country, wherever you go, it doesn't matter at all. There are always people from your own country who are staying there, and they're like, uh, mafia thing, which will benefit from newcomers. They will say, yeah, yeah, we will provide you work, but you will pay the percentage. Yeah, yeah, we will help you with this, but you will do this for us. So the refugees are always in danger that even people who are from their own country will make some benefits, from their staying in this country. So my advice for those who can stay in the country, stay in your country. If there is no way to go, go to a nearby where you understand what's going on and you are sure you can navigate easier. And Europe now is difficult. I would not say not welcoming, but definitely difficult for any kind of immigrant. So try to stay at home.
Yeah, it's better to be in the native country than moving to another country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's another question that what are the first steps someone should take if they feel unsafe or threatened in any way?
What are the first steps to take when?
When they feel unsafe or threatened.
When you feel unsafe and threatened, and you need to understand uh, if there are any other place, like you have relatives in other city, or the your country, have other safer regions. And sometimes when there is a conflict, even the country its own says to people that you can move to this area. And they, for example, create more centers which will help people who arrive, or create some shelters for people who will arrive there. So if you are afraid and you have relatives in other area, speak to them and try to move there. Possibly they will support you or at least help you, to navigate in a new place. If there is, bigger danger in your area, uh, look for what your country and your government says. If they provide some other areas, to move to, move there. Uh, if you are not sure and you have no other relatives, but you are still afraid, then you need to make plan of your own. If you have financial, stability, or you work on a distance, then you can move to any other place within your country. You will still be working, so you will have an income and you will be able to cover your expenses. If not, then if you are working, let's say, in a company which has, I don't know, offices in another city, ask them to move you to another city. If you are working in something small, or you are like self-employed, then again, you can find safer city or town and try to move by your own. It's better to find, a little place where to stay before, and go there, or stay in a cheap hotel for some period of time until you find some possibility, to find a flat and rent and stay there. Practically, it's always up to us. If we are afraid and we see that it's a problem, look for the safest option which you can come with. Best is relatives, worst it's on your own. The only thing you need to think about when you are in this situation, if I move, how I will live there. So you need to stay somewhere and to receive money from somewhere. So if you can solve these two things, it's your two first steps when you consider where to move. And if you can support these two, then you can move wherever you want. Because if you are within your country, the medical system most possibly will be the same. Uh, Transportation will be the same. The language is the same. Food, it depends, in which country you live, but more or less you can save, eat, for example, a bit less in new place because you need to pay for your rent. But still, it's up to you how you can, manage your everyday needs. But the income, it's important, so you need to know where you will get money and where you will stay. These are two the most important.
That's awesome, and I don't see any more questions. If someone have any question or they would like to share anything, they can raise their hand and I will ask them to unmute themselves. Or let me see. Yeah, there are not any questions in the chat box, but I would like to ask one that you have been working for about 3 years now. So have you, how have you seen the displaced women and especially children reclaim their purpose and dignity again, like after the trauma they've been through? So how they manage everything, like what you have seen in your personal experience?
Um, Children, it depends on the age. If they are really small, they are getting better with the new situations. Like they tend to forget faster because they are small. Let's say 0 to 5 years, they are going through the phase really fast. Uh, the age from, I would say, 8 years until 10, it's very difficult. When I started working with kids like this, they were absolutely negative to anything. They didn't want to go to school, they didn't want to learn new language, they didn't like the country, they didn't like the food, they didn't like anything. And the only thing they wanted to return to their old life, to their parents, to their dads who remained in the country because due to war situation, men cannot leave country. So that's why the reason usually it's women and children because men are not allowed. So ladies are traveling, and because ladies are traveling alone and they have this responsibility of household, of kids, of documents, they don't have possibility, time, and they are not allowing psychologically themselves to relax and to understand all these awful situations they're in. They are like, fighter every day doing things one by one, and days just going, through. And the kids are the one who are really struggling because they have a lot of time to understand the new situation and to remember the old one. So usually it takes like a year for kids to start reopening, to understand that the situation is like this. We cannot do anything at the moment. We need to get used to a new situation. And in case, after some time we can return, then we will return. So we need to get used to what we have now. It takes really a lot of time, a lot of effort, uh, and it takes around a year. But then, when they realize that, okay, there is no other option and there is no choice, they start working step by step. And in about another year, they are getting much better. And okay, maybe they are not 100% okay, but they are much, much better. They become, again alive, again kids, getting some friends, starting some hobby, which helps them to go through this phase. And always, it also depends on the families. There are families who are really, originally low motion and low esteem, and in this case, the kids are the same. They're like everyone is victim. And there are families who are independent and, not high end, but, this dignity, never leaving themselves, even in worse situations. So their kids are raising with the same spirit, like, no matter what, I am worse, I will go through, everything will be okay, and I just need to go to this one as fast as possible in the best possible way. In this case, the kids are alive, trying, learning. Usually, they are going to different extracurriculum like theater, like singing, dancing, doing stuff with their hands, like different things, going for sports. So they are all the time engaged in something, and it helps to take the tension away. They are developing, they are interacting with other kids, which is very important for their age, and they need to. They are learning the language because they are in the environment with other people from this country. Maybe there will be kids from your country, but also another country will definitely influence. And kids are like a sponge; they get everything, around them. They see how people talk, walk, what they do, what they eat, how they react, and they copy everything. So those who are originally, more independent spirits, they're going much better through this. On the third year, they start, to assimilate in the country where they are. They get used to traditions, to rhythm of the country, which is very different in different countries, to things which locals do, to holidays which locals do. They still keep and follow their own holidays. They gather in communities so they can celebrate things together. There are schools which they have, with our native language, like weekend schools. There are religion schools which support, in Ukraine, we are Christians, but there are different confessions of Christians. So there are several of them in Greece, so they go also to this church confessions wherever they are. So it takes time, definitely. Even if you are in more or less safe situation, it takes time. Like when they hear first hear the parade here with the planes, they were hiding under the beds. Even if they were thinking that, okay, we are okay and safe now, subconsciously they were afraid. Next year, when there was a parade, they were fine and even looking for the planes where they go. But the first year, it was really big trauma. And sometimes we think that I am fine, but a little trigger will show that you are not. It takes
Yeah,
time.
it's big times because it's a new environment and everything is new, and then you are missing
Yeah,
your homeland. So that's a really big
absolutely.
issue, and
Yeah.
psychologically, it's a very much pressure. So you have perfectly explained everything, and thank you so much. Since we are above our specific time, it's
Yeah.
9:15, so we
Sorry.
have no. The questions are too much, and there are still two questions remaining. But I think so we should answer them in the group. That would be
Yeah.
perfect, and that would be easy for you. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your energy, and I'm really thankful that you have educated us all on this very important topic, knowing that the situation in the worldwide is really intense nowadays, and we all should be educated on this topic so that in our own capacities we can do something for these refugees and these displaced people. So thank you so much
Yes.
to our mentor, Miss Anna. You are really perfect for this topic. Thank you so much for your time and energy.
Thank you,
And we are,
everyone, for coming. Thank
yeah,
you.
we are really thankful to you. And to our participants, thank you so much. Thank you so much for showing up with your empathy, your courage, and questions. We hope that today's session has left you feeling not informed, but also empowered to seek support, ask questions, help others who are going through this process. So, thank you so much for your enthusiasm for learning on this topic. Till we meet again in our next mentorship space, stay safe, stay supported, and lead with purpose. So thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. Goodbye. And have a
Thank you.
great day.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.